Now we have the Octopath Traveler All Males category being done by quadraaceps. And I think that's it for me. Quadraaceps, feel free to take it away and introduce yourself and your commentator.
Alright, thanks for having me. Hey everyone, I'm quadraaceps. So I speedrun Octopath Traveler, and this is a JRPG from Square and has some really great music and some really nice 2D graphics. So I hope you all enjoy. This is going to be all males. So in this category, we're going to finish all 4 chapters of the 4 male characters in this game. And there are 8 characters total, but 4 of them are female, so they're not going to be recruited for the purposes of the speedrun. So there are some really cool strats, and this is a relatively new category, so I really hope all of you enjoy the new strats that I'll be showing off in this speedrun. So with that being said, let's get right into the run. Oh yeah, joining me, I have Jan on commentary, so...
Hello
Sanjan
everyone.
could just say hi. Yeah.
I am your fellow Team Velocity Overlord. I also speedrun Octopath. I'll be commentating with quadraaceps.
I'm really happy that Sanjan's here to commentate with me. There's a lot of stuff that's going to go on in this run, so definitely appreciate the help. And Sanjan herself has been so nice to do an all-males run of her own, so she will be able to...
Also, can we, sorry,
to
one thing. We do have a running bid war for the language, so which language are we using? Are we on right now? English or Japanese?
We don't have any votes for it yet, so we can just start with English, and we can change it as we go.
Oh, you're making Quadra sad.
Okay, we can start with Japanese, just for you.
It's fine. No, we could do English. The important part's not until a bit into the run where you need Japanese.
Also, I started the timer early because I thought that's when it was supposed to go. So just give me a countdown whenever.
Oh, so sorry about that. All right.
No, it's all good. You said let's get the run going, and a screen faded, so I was like, oh, that's my cue.
Oh.
Yeah. So time starts
this
run when Quadra selects one of the 8 characters here and then presses the OK button. So, just for reference.
Yeah, and then time ends on the last cutscene of the last character that the last chapter that you're gonna finish. And you have to end with the first character that you started with. So keep that in mind, because that's actually gonna be relevant for this run. Alright, so we're gonna start with Cyrus here, and time starts when I click yes. So I'm gonna do a countdown on 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so we're going to start with Cyrus. He's going to give us the quickest access to an important skill known as evasive maneuvers. And it's a skill where essentially it increases the distance where you can travel by without getting an encounter by a factor of about 2.5 times. So it's an incredibly strong skill, especially when it comes to the purposes of a speedrun. So definitely you want to rush that first. And Cyrus is going to give us the quickest access to that because he is the base class that can learn that skill. So the evasive maneuvers is a support skill of the scholar class. So the scholar class is like the mage class of this game, and support skills are passive skills, and you unlock them by learning base skills. So Cyrus has ready access to evasive maneuvers. He just needs the job points or JP to get evasive maneuvers. So that's going to be that's what we're going to be doing right after we finish this chapter 1.
Yeah, Cyrus is pretty much the only choice I can kind of go with for picking first because he has a pretty easy. He's easy to kind of pivot as your the last character to finish, but also all the other dudes in this category start really far from the Scholar Shrine, and you'd also need to farm a Cade, and they just take way too long to get there. So Cyrus is pretty much the only choice you have for starting with in the speedrun.
Yeah, so Sanjan mentioned a few things there. The first is the Scholar Shrine. So shrines are where you can unlock secondary jobs for your characters. So even though they aren't Cyrus, they can get the Scholar Shrine so they can learn scholar skills for themselves. And then a Kate is a rare enemy that's a 3% chance of spawning outside your chapter 1s, and they give a lot of JP, so it can give characters enough JP to learn evasive maneuvers.
Yes.
But of course.
But of course, Cyrus is the best start for this category for reasons that I have just explained. So we're just making our way through chapter 1. Chapter 1, it's kind of an introduction to game mechanics, and I'm going to be using Cyrus's path action called Scrutinize to get a bunch of items here, and then I'm going to go to the shop and purchase an item, a weapon that will allow me to speed up the boss fight a lot more. And path actions are how our characters interact with NPCs in this game, and Cyrus's path action Scrutinize allows him to get information from NPCs. So some of this information can be used to uncover hidden items, like you saw what I did there, and some of them can be used to complete quests or even unlock extra items in shops.
I've done my research on you.
Yeah, so you see her coming up on our fight. Quadra chose to break it and kill it because we need to farm a little bit of JP for evasive maneuvers. The Eye Sentinel you just saw is always the very first encounter you get, and it gives you 5 JP, which is pretty nice because we're going to be needed to farm a total of 130 JP for evasive maneuvers, so 30 for your first skill and 100 for your second skill, so we'll explain that in further since the JP costs go up. So we're kind of hoping for double sentinels on this, which is pretty nice. So yeah, Quadra's gonna kill this, and then so you also notice we went and grabbed soul stones both at the beginning and right now. So these soul stones are going to be really useful for the fight because they deal a fixed amount of damage, which can also multiply kind of based on your if your enemy's weak to it. So like if you saw in this, you saw that there's shields. Each enemy has a shield, and that every time you hit it with the ability or like a weapon that they're weak to, their shields go down. So when their shields go down, they're in a broken state, and they take 1.5 times more damage from attacks.
I believe it's 2 times the amount of damage from normal attacks. I'm just going to use the soul stone that I picked up to break the ads here, and then I'm going to use another soul stone to take out the ads. So you can see that Russell's taking half the damage that we're taking from the ads.
Yeah, so this fight is pretty simple. It is a little bit based on turn order because if we have bad turn orders here, he charges up. Which doesn't like kill you, but it just wastes time.
Alright, come on, give me the good turn order. No, useless. I was really hoping for Cyrus to go before Russell on the next turn, because what it means now is that he's gonna charge up his attack, which is slow.
Yeah, so other than hoping for a good turn order, Russell is a pretty simple fight. Yeah, so as you saw there, soul stones, like when the enemy's not broken, deal a base of around 200 damage, and then when broken, they deal double damage. So sorry for my 1.5 times mistake there. It's actually 2 times, so they deal around 400 damage, and that's just the small soul stones, which deal a pretty sizable amount of damage very quick, given what we have for our character. We're only literally given a quartz rod for damage.
Yeah, so like Sanjan said, soul stones are really useful for bypassing the fact that your characters don't have a lot of stats and damage. So being able to deal a fixed amount of damage is definitely very helpful, especially for this chapter 1. And if you notice, I actually scrutinized a medium soul stone as well, and I didn't use them to fight, and that's because I'm gonna be wanting to use the soul stone to grind for JP in this upcoming section called the Whistlewood. So right after Cyrus's chapter 1, the first thing we want to do is to get the aforementioned evasive maneuvers, and to do that, we don't want to kill encounters that are just outside Atlas Dam because they don't give a lot of JP. we want to go to a higher level area known as the Whistlewood, where some of the groups there can give us enough JP for evasive maneuvers. So I got a Soulstone drop from Russell. It could matter here. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Some enemies that you can encounter here can give you enough JP to get a skill known as Lightning Blast, which makes the Whistlewood go from a 25% chance to give you a good encounter to a 33% chance to give you a good encounter. But unfortunately, I don't have Lightning Blast, so I'm just gonna have to hope that I get a good encounter here. So mainly what we're looking for are worms. And this is the encounter which you want Lightning Blast for, classic Octopath.
Yeah, so pretty bad RNG. So since he has no means of breaking them, he just has to run and just die. Cyrus ironically has like a pretty RNG section for grinding evasive maneuvers because he's the only character, and because most of the enemies don't give you much JP at this stage. Like you kind of have to hope for a good Whistlewood. Like you can kill whatever encounter, but you'll be killing a lot of frogs for a while if you just choose like only just frogs to kill. So it's not. I don't know if Quadra's gonna pick that. It's not ideal, but
no,
like it's like a last
not.
resort.
It's too slow. It's definitely more worth it to just try again and look for worms. So this encounter here is the worst encounter here. Right now we're gonna need 130 JP, and this encounter gives us like 60 JP. So we're gonna need to grind another 30 JP or so from extra encounters if we take this. So definitely don't want to.
Yeah, so for reference, the frogs are outside the Whistlewood. The regular frogs only give 4 JP. What I call the bandana frog, the 2 shield green frog. I forgot how much JP they get, but it's not that much either.
Yeah, 6 JP. So 12 JP is the highest group that you can get outside Atlas Dam, which are the ends.
So yeah, y'all can feel free to spam frog emotes. We're gonna see a lot of frogs. Hopefully we don't see that too much.
Yeah, OS frog.
You're just gonna see poor Cyrus hit the deck a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing much you can do about this. Besides get Lightning Blast, but since we don't have Lightning Blast, it's really just a matter of trying to get worms. Definitely not having a very good start of the run here.
25%, by the way.
It's 25%. But one thing about the Whistlewood is because it's a higher level area, there is a good chance that you can get ambushed as well, which really sucks because yeah, if you get ambushed, you pretty much just die because you have to wait for all your enemies to take their turns first.
Oh yeah,
we still have yet to see any worms.
There's also a 3%. There's also a 3% chance in this to get like a certain combination that you can't kill at all.
Oh, caught my surprise! Classic. Yeah, so you can kill a Kate as well. Kates are 4% to spawn in Whistlewood, and they give 150 JP. So classic skill toss or money toss. It's not gil in this game.
Yeah, so
this is a lot of JP, so it's enough as well.
Yeah, everybody loves Whistlewood. They love Whistlewood, so yeah, this is literally just a process of running into Whistlewood and hoping you get the 25% encounter. Like, usually most runners will probably give it like 2 or 3 tries, 3 tries, depending on how much they want to grind this to reset. But since this is a marathon, we just have to deal with it. Rip it.
Yeah, it's usually not so bad. Usually you get it. I mean, it is a 25% street. It is a 25% chance. So just having a really bad. Wait, I ran away.
Yeah, you're just preconditioned to die. So like, sometimes you can run away, but it's not, like. You're just your mind is just preconditioned. No, Cyrus is just gonna die. So sometimes you're running away.
Sometimes I do run away, and I'm just like, wait, what happened?
And yeah, these frogs here like to gather strength always on the first turn, so like it's doing it's just like a good waste of time. You know, they're just trying to kind of BM us at this point.
Yeah, so there are like 3 different frogs here. The frogs without hats or helmets or whatever, they always gather strength from the first turn, so it's really slow. And oh my gosh, we are really just not getting the Whistlewood that we need.
Maybe Horned Frog can kill you.
Oh, he didn't crit. So if he uses Dark Stab, if it crits, it can actually kill you, so that you actually want that so you can die faster.
I still have so much to learn.
You know, I blame Cyrus. He's not doing a good job of finding worms.
Yeah.
Maybe you should run around the torch. I think worms are attracted to
Yeah.
attracted
I'll
to
try
heat.
that. Hey, there we go. Hey, let's go.
Works 100% of the time, every time.
What is the logical course of
So this encounter
Different-
gives Cyrus just enough JP to hit
not bad.
130 for evasive maneuvers. There is one encounter that you can kill that if you didn't kill like any extra encounters, you'd be 2 JP off, and you just have to kill a poor frog or ant for it. But even that's not a big deal. But hey, now we got off of Whistlewood hell.
Finally leaving Whistlewood after like what seems to have been an eternity of dying to frogs. So we can finally get on the run. Now it's not okay, so it's not a guaranteed ambush every time. Yeah, it's just really just dependent on luck. But if you're in a higher level area, you tend to get ambushed more. So we're gonna tag Atlas Dam here, Noble Court here, so you can fast travel back later. So this game has a really nice system where you're able to fast travel back to any town that you've visited. So while we're in the area, we're just gonna tag Noble Court. So because we're gonna want to go back there later for another character's chapter. And then now we're gonna go on this next section, which we call exploration. So before we actually start the rush bosses, we want to gather resources and money and whatnot, so that it's gonna make our rushing, it's gonna make rushing bosses a lot easier. And along the way, I'm just gonna be tagging towns as well and getting more shrines so that we can have the setup that we need for when we actually want to finish this run or get on with the run. So this is a necessary section for every Octopath speedrun. It all follows this. It all follows this structure of getting evasive maneuvers and then going on exploration and then rushing your bosses.
Yeah, so technically you could go for like the chapter fights now, but it'll take us a good century, and we've already spent another century in Whistlewood, so we generally do like a generally kind of long, not longish, but like can be kind of longish section of exploration, just so that we can round up all the items that we need to quickly take care of the other chapter ones. Because as I mentioned about soulstones, like as you saw, that small soulstone did like 200 damage unbroken. Well, we have medium soulstones, which you saw in Whistlewood, which did 1100, or in this case 1432, since those frogs are weak to light. And then we have large soulstones, which deal a base of 2700 damage, or 5400 broken. And for chapter 1 bosses, that is a lot of damage, so that's why whenever you want to go in there, you generally just kind of want to grab soulstones to deal with it very handily.
So yeah, we're gonna tag Cobblestone here because this is Ulbricht's hometown, or not really hometown, but chapter 1 town. And Ulbricht is going to be one of the 4 characters that we're going to pick up in this run. So more about this category. It's one of the 4 half game categories that were recently introduced in 2020. And half categories are really interesting because they're kind of a middle ground between single story routes, single story runs, and full game categories like AMS or Gaudi. And they use a lot of they use strats that aren't seen in single story. Namely using weapons to deal a lot of damage, because you don't have the resources like in single story to rush every boss with a certain skill, which I'll explain in a bit. So you're gonna have to find a way to reduce the requirement for money. And let me go to Stone Guard. Okay, so
Yeah, so Quadra did a
go
screen reset there because like this screen's pretty long and you're generally likely to get an encounter here, and getting an encounter here is it's pretty much a death sentence because Cyrus is not equipped to deal with anything in this high level area. So you're gonna see he's also gonna save here, which is just a safety thing because you can get somewhat common to get an encounter here, but if you die, you kind of die closer. So you're gonna see eventually this run there's gonna be multiple ways of resetting your step counter. So one way is you're gonna see here in a second is Quadra's gonna save and quit here, and that reloads the stepping counter. Going to a different area, with some exceptions, also resets the stepping counter.
And do we have a quick moment for donation?
Go
yes.
ahead.
Sure. All right, so we got a $5 donation from Jordan97. It says, I think it's time for the Japanese VA, so if we could switch over to that, that'd be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Really happy.
No. No, but of course.
Well, I'm fine with English voices for most of this run, but certain chapters I definitely want Japanese.
Yeah, so for the most part, in most single stories, Japanese is slightly faster. There's one notable exception, which is Ulrich's single story speedruns, which English is just a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But for the most part, most runners will run in Japanese, but there are some exceptions where it doesn't matter as much, because the stories that you generally want in Japanese are for Cyrus is just chapter 1 and Haunted, which we are not getting in this speedrun, but Haunted's English voices are extremely long and if you get the bad orangey English voice, it adds like 2 seconds to the fight.
Standest thou against me? Then you wait for an eternity before she says the hunted. So yeah, it's really long, but we have Haunted in this run, so that's so we don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna I got the Merchant Shrine, I'll explain that in a bit. I'm tagging Goldshore now. I'm gonna scrutinize this guy, but we're not gonna pick it up yet because later when we're in Goldshore again, we can pick it up when we're closer to it. And then on the way to the next screen, I'm gonna scrutinize this man here for quest information, which I'm gonna use to complete a quest later. So this screen is kind of infamous, and it kills a lot of runs because a lot of routes do like to come to this area to get resources, and the screen is a bit risky because it's very long. So,
Classic.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about this. We can make our movement as optimized as possible, but it's you still get an encounter and not an insignificant amount of time, a number of times.
So roughly, step encounter is kind of like based on a random roll, and it also depends on the area too. But it's kind of random. I believe when you enter the area, it'll give you like a certain amount of step encounters. So the reason why we got EM earlier and why it's so important for speedruns is that it doubles the amount of steps that it takes for you to get in an encounter. So pretty much having that allows you to explore the world.
Yeah, so more about the Merchant Shrine. So the Merchant class is very important for the speedrun because it has a skill known as Hired Help. And Hired Help is where you pay money to deal damage. So it's a pay-to-win skill. But the good thing about Hired Help is that it doesn't take into account your stats. It actually uses a separate stat line to calculate damage. So it's very useful because the highest tier of Hired Help, called Veterans, deals a lot of damage. And far more damage than any of our characters will be able to do in this run. So we're going to be using Hired Help Veterans as the main source of our damage for most of this run. The only problem with Hired Help Veterans is that it takes 30,000 leads per use, so leads are is the currency in this game. And it's very expensive, and that's why you also need to go on exploration to get the money to fund your Hired Help uses. And yeah, that's... what was I gonna say? Got a bit focused in the exploration here. Okay, so
So I believe
yeah, I'm
that's
sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was like focusing on my movement.
yeah. So that first part is done. Unlucky death here. So now we're off to Quarry Crest, which is where Cyrus's chapter 2 is at. We'll be starting a little bit of it for convenience, but it is on the way because we do need to go ahead. We will be tagging some towns on the way here, so we'll be tagging Sunshade.
Sunshade and Clearbrook.
Yeah, Sunshade and Clearbrook here. We don't get primos, of course, but Sunshade is just a nice area to go to because we'll be needing to go to Saints Bridge in the future, which is where Alphin's chapter 2 is at. And then we tag Clearbrook, which is where Alphin's chapter 1 is at. So basically, we kind of tried to like tag many places efficiently so that we can just like warp back there whenever we have the opportunity to. We are able to get our characters. Chapter 3.
Yeah, pretty much every time we're in the area, we want to tag a town that's there. If we are going back to that town later.
Yeah, it's also convenient to tag Clearbrook anyways, because it's another way to reset your stepping counter, as I described before with changing to a different area. And the screen is a pretty long screen, so you're likely to get an encounter here, which we don't want encounters, so...
For what I wanted to say, so it was about Hired Help. So I mentioned that Hired Help Veterans takes 30,000 leaves, and it's a lot of resources, and we need to go and get money to fund Hired Help Veterans. So the thing about half-game categories is that they're too long for us to use vets on every single boss only. So that's why we have to supplement that damage with other sources, so that we can reduce our usage of Hired Help, which really speeds up the route a lot because we don't have to go and get money. Or in some cases, there actually isn't enough money in the run that you can reasonably get. So a lot better to... it's very nice that in half-game categories, we have access to some really strong weapons, which we can use to make up damage. And you're gonna see that later. And I'm really excited to be doing all males because it's the half-game category that makes the heaviest use of weapons. So it uses very few vets towards the late game and a lot of weapons. So you're gonna see some really flashy fights where you're just like destroying all your enemies with weapons instead of cheesing them with Hired Help. But
so
of course, since Hired Help is still strong, we're gonna make a lot of use of them.
Yeah, so we can use we have access to a lot of good weapons thanks to our totally best friend in the world, Therion. So Therion has Therion special action. So we'll be getting Therion too, but Therion has allows us to loot what we call purple chest, which generally tend to have very valuable items, and we can get a lot of like really nice weapons through that. So that's the primary reason why we have a much more heavier focus on weapons for our damage, and also since we're locked to one merchant, since we don't have Tressa.
Yeah, exactly. The character with merchant as the base class in this game is Tressa, who is a female character. So you are only able to have one merchant in this category, thanks to the merchant shrine. In categories where you have access to Tressa, you will have two merchants, which makes the fights a lot different, a lot more vets focused instead of weapons focused like this. So, like Sanjan mentioned, Therion has a special talent where he's able to unlock purple chests. And that's the reason why in the first section of exploration where we went to Lock of the Lost King in the Grandport area, we did it then because there aren't any purple chests there. So we want to get the soul stones and the money from that area so that we can rush Therion's chapter 1. And we want to recruit Therion first because we want to get access to the purple chest as quickly as possible. And you're gonna see why we want access to these purple chests very shortly, once I get them. But Grandport's a very nice area to go to for exploration because not only is there a lot of money, but there are also a lot of stones there which are very valuable for this run. So in particular, like not just using stones for to rush chapter 1s, Ulbricht's chapters tend to be very resource heavy, so you need a lot of vets and a lot of stones to make it through his chapters. So definitely want to get as many stones that you can reasonably pick up as possible. So over here in Therion's chapter, Raven's Manor is a man's type dungeon where going through the screen transition will not reset your step counter. So you're actually going to see me get an encounter here most of the time, despite the fact that I actually made it to a different screen. But that's not a big issue because the encounter is always fixed and Therion's able to break it. So we're able to run from it very easily.
Yeah, even if you don't run from this, it's not the worst thing in the world because you can just choose to break it or just like YOLO run it. I mean, it's only one guard, so it can't really do much to you. If you have more characters here...
Yeah.
Sorry, you can go ahead. No, you can
go
ahead.
Yeah, coming up, you're going to see the power of the soul stones here. So Heathcote has about 2900 HP, and a large soul stone unbroken deals 2700, but if you hit Heathcote for his weakness, it deals 1.3 times the amount of damage. So it becomes 3500, which is enough to take him out in one hit.
Yeah, so I think we did mention Steel, but so Steel is Therion's special path action. It's basically what it says on there. You steal stuff from people, but it is considered a rogue path action, which means that it can fail. And every time you fail, you kind of you lose like one reputation. And if you fail to steal up to 5 times, that means you lose your reputation, and you have to go to the tavern to bribe them to basically forget about it. And it varies on each town, but it can get costly if you if Therion does not do his job, because what Seal is based on your level. Chance, so it goes from 3, 8, 15, 55, and then 80 or something like that, and then finally 100. So for the most part, the steals that we'll be doing, aside from a certain amount of steals, will generally be favored, but sometimes Therion just doesn't do his job. Oh yeah, 65. 55, 65, then 80, and then 100, so there's kind of a level formula that I don't remember off the top of my head here.
We are in fact going to be stealing at every percentage in them besides 15%. So stay tuned for 3%. Right, so this next section of exploration we want to do right after we complete Therion's chapter 1, because we can come here right after we exit Boulder Fall. So what we want to do is we want to get the Hunter Shrine, which is going to be very useful later. Not only does it have some pretty useful skills, but it's also it also has access to the axe weapon, which is going to be very relevant for this run. And right after tagging Victor's Hollow, we are going to go over to Duskbarrow. And Duskbarrow is a chapter 4 town, so the encounters here, if you get it, will kill you. So you're hoping to not get an encounter here. So the same see me do ever save and quit here to try to skip the encounter. But sometimes you do get the encounter before reaching the save point. So thankfully we do make it to the save point. And now I'm just going to do a save and quit. And over in Dust Barrel, there's 30,000 chests that can only be opened by Therion, so that's why you definitely need Therion for this section. So this is the first purple chest that he's going to open. And a lot of these purple chests, like Sanjan said, have very good weapons. They also have a lot of money in them. The only thing you never ever find in purple chests are like soul stones. Yeah.
All right, we got a minute for some donations.
Sure.
Great. So we had 2 more donations that I missed earlier, but $10 from Lax Slime Singular with a Run, Alphan Best Male, and then another $30 from Joker, Good Luck Quattro, $15 to Sobble named Diluc, and $15 for Cub Food to be named Dimmadome. And with those, actually, we met the Steal the Best Weapon in the Game incentive. So super exciting. That got met like almost instantly. So yeah, as soon as we're able, then let's go and get the best weapon in the game.
Thank you everyone for your donations. I appreciate it a lot. Alright, so right after tagging Duster and looting Dust Barrel, we are going to go to this next section of exploration in the Everhold area, which is every runner's favorite area. And the reason why we want to come to Everhold Tunnels is that it has the most important weapons for this speedrun. And they can only be obtained by Therion because they're in purple chest. Oh no, I got the Palm M reflex, so dangerous here. Okay. I have an extra Palm M, so I wasn't supposed to pick up that Palm M because it's very risky to pick up. But because I'm a gamer, I didn't get the encounter. It's just a reflex because in a lot of categories you do get that Palm M because you come from it, you take a different path. So it's always safe.
So this is another instance of the step counter reset, as you're going to see here in a moment. Quadra's gonna... So this is an optional boss prompt. So it asks if you are ready to kind of face the boss. Obviously, we are not going to face the boss. We're going to say no. But what this does is that it also resets the step encounter. So Quadra's going to take advantage of this to be able to loot all the really important weapons in this entire area here. So he looted the 30k chest. He's going to loot right here Knowledge Staff. And then lastly, he's going to loot the Death Cleaver. And they are all going to be very useful weapons for this run. Since we're going to be using both magic and physical damage to, in addition with vets, to kill stuff.
So more about the weapons that we just picked up. Now, firstly, we're going to pick up Alphin. So more about the weapons that we just picked up. Knowledge Stuff is the best stuff that you can have access to without, like, that's not like the post game. And it also has a very nice boost in speed. So it speed is a stat that influences how early your characters tend to go. And a character with higher speed tends to go first more often than a character that's slower. So it's really nice for Cyrus because some of these encounters we're going to want him to go fast, pretty early to kill them. And then Knowledge Stuff is also to be used for the entire run. So we're never going to take it off of Cyrus, except for a brief period in the middle of the run. But essentially, he's going to be using the Knowledge Stuff for damage for the entire run. And then the Death Cleaver that we picked up is the second strongest axe in the game. So the strongest axe in the game we won't have access to, but we're going to steal it later. But Death Cleaver is one of the strongest axes in the game as well. It has a lot of damage, and coupled with Alphin's apothecary skills, which some of them are very strong axe skills, we're going to be able to deal a lot of damage. So immediately after recruiting Alphin, I'm gonna equip both the Knowledge Stuff and the Death Cleaver onto them. So you're gonna see right here how strong these weapons are. So something about this fight is that you don't have the element of stone. You don't have the shadow or ice stones that you need to hit Viper for his weakness, so you don't get the 800 damage bonus. But since our weapons are so long, it doesn't really matter. We can just use those to fill up the damage instead.
Yeah, so one thing about the chapter 1 boss scaling is based on how many characters you have, up to 4 characters, there's a bit of scaling that goes on with these bosses. So Russell in chapter 1 only has like 2k HP. Actually no, like 1500, I forget. It's kind of lowish. But if Cyrus wasn't our first character, like say namely our second, he would have around, I believe, 3100 HP if he was your second character, and I believe if he was your third character, he has like 3.9k HP. And then finally, like chapter 4, up to chapter 4, not up to chapter 4, but up to 4 characters is when the scaling kind of stops.
So yeah, we're gonna pick up our characters in a pretty specific order and there are actually reasons why we do this. So obviously we pick Therion up first because we want access to the knowledge stuff and the Death Cleaver, and we're gonna pick Alphen up next, and just mainly just to save stones. So because we don't have Ice or Battle Soulstone that we need to deal a lot of damage to Viper, so we want to do him third. We want to kill it third so that we don't need that extra damage. We can just supplement it with our weapons instead. And also because for the final character that we're gonna pick up, which is Olbrich, his boss is gonna be weak to Thunder. So that's why I'm coming here to Alphen's Chapter 2 town to start it first. And then I'm gonna pick up the Thunder L, which I scrutinized the first time I was here. And this Thunder L is actually going to be used for Olbrich's Chapter 1, so that's the reason why we come here first. And we're going to start Alphen's Chapter 2, but we're not going to finish it immediately. And in fact, what you're going to see me do is that I'm actually going to do part of it, and then I'm going to warp out and do some other stuff, and then come back later to finish Chapter 2. And the reason for that is because right after doing the Inquire on this screen, you actually have to go back to the first screen to go to the dungeon. And instead of backtracking, what you can do is you can warp back into the town. You can warp out and warp back, and that saves you from having to backtrack and do this screen transition. So it's actually more optimal to do it this way. And we need the resources here anyway, namely the Thunder L, so that's why we come here first. And that's why you do Alphen third as well. So now that we have everything that we need, we can pick up Olbrich. Yeah, go ahead, Sanjay.
Yeah, Alphen chapters tend to have a ton of running around long distances, so we like to use Alphen's chapters as kind of a pivot to multitask other things.
Yeah, and in Olbrich's Chapter 1, you're gonna have a forced encounter with the Brigands outside the Brigands Den. So, they're really weak, so you can just kill them pretty easily, and that's also one of the nice bonuses that you get from the knowledge stuff. Like having Cyrus fast go first, he's able to clear the encounter pretty easily with his spells. These guys have like around 400 HP, which is coincidentally the amount of damage that Cyrus deals. Of course, he doesn't go first.
It's not scaled either, so fun fact.
Well, getting to the end of my host time, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Usurpering for the rest of the evening. So thanks for having me, guys, and Usurp, you're ready to go.
Thank you.
Awesome. Hello, I am Usurpering. I'm going to be your host for the rest of the night. Really lovely to be here. Do we have just a minute to talk about Rise Above the Disorder?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. So, Rise Above Disorder is a wonderful non-profit charity organization dedicated to battling the two greatest barriers to mental health care: accessibility and affordability. To accomplish their mission, they provide a universal mental health care system to people around the world, no matter where we are. And just remember that it's okay for us to talk about mental health and seek advice and help, no matter who you are or where you come from.
He said the funny word.
So Oberic's every character says something before they go into battle, and Oberic's line before you go into his bosses is Waga ken wa mamoru beki mono no tameni, which translates to my sword is for what we should protect, and but it doesn't matter because it's because it's funny. It doesn't matter what it's just funny.
It's a really like long dialogue in Japanese, which is why when you do Ulrich's single story, you play it in English because all he says in English is just "I will not fail," and Ulrich like will spam the Pagaken dialogue and 3 of his 4 chapters. So that's why you want to play Ulrich in English when you play Ulrich's single story. But in most other categories, you just deal with it.
Yeah, but Waga Ken, like we call it Waga Ken or Paga Ken. It's a pretty long line, but it's also like pretty nice to hear. So it's kind of like a tongue twister or whatever. So yeah, we just love hearing that line. And so fun fact, so Ulrich actually has a longer voice line that he says for his challenges or his forced encounters in chapter 2. So a lot of people like say that Ulrich has like Waga Ken loses so much time or whatever. Actually, it's not true. Like Waga Ken is actually the shorter of his 2 lines. So I picked up the dancer shrine there. It's not really essential as like let's say a merchant. The merchant. However,
Uh-oh.
Oh.
You're cutting out, Quadra. Your voice is kind of getting mechanized. So I think what he meant to say there is, you saw Ulrich challenge that person there, and then just escape from the fight. So that's yet another way to reset the stepping counter is to by challenging or, in the case of Haunted, provoking someone. So we forgot to mention about Alphen and Ulrich's path action. So Ulrich's path action is challenge, which means that you have a noble, quote-unquote noble duel with someone, but it's level-based, so that Ulrich has to be a certain level in order to challenge someone. And also for our Golden Axe incentive, which thank you to the donators who donated for it, Ulrich needs to be level 25 for the challenge that we need to do to unlock stealing the Golden Axe. And as for Alphen's path action, it's basically like Cyrus's path action here, except you need to be a certain level and it's guaranteed, but unfortunately Alphen's path action is kind of terribly scaled, honestly, so you're not going to be seeing much use of that aside from the story. You're also going to see here Quad is going to be doing what we call buffer glitch. So normally like you get this, you have to like beat the boss here, but you saw that he went back and forth, like he opened up the switch menu screen back and forth between there. So what that does is that it kind of like pushes you forward during it creates a lag and pushes you forward, and then if done right, like you'll kind of be like a little bit ahead, and you're gonna be able to get through that and get the item that you need. So locked behind there is Master Sphere, which is really good because it lets Ulrich deal some damage because he's going to need to deal some damage in his chapters. You sound pretty robotic. I think you'll need to restart Discord.
I can tell everyone here that he is definitely human and not a robot, and we are sorting out these problems as soon as we can.
Yes, I'm about to unmute Discord.
Yeah, so anyways, while he fixes his Discord, so what I was gonna say is that there's a lot of good items in Marcelim, so he went to grab some items from there. So he got a circlet, he got a good amount of money, and he got the high horse armor, so it's gonna be pretty good armor for him. And then he also scrutinized the guard to the right for an extra soulstone, because soulstones will be kind of relevant in this speedruns, and you do have to get a dupe or two. If I recall, it's not too many dupes, but yeah. So sorry, folks. We've got he's resetting his Discord. So you have time for a donation or plug. Feel free to.
Of course. So, first of all, we have $15 from Sunny Muffin saying, "Good luck on the run, Quadra. Hope 3% treats you well." Smiley face. Thank you very much for that donation, you very much beautiful person. Just want to remind you all, we are allowing the voice acting to be changed from Japanese to English. All you need to do is donate, and, well, you just say, "Oh, change to English," or then change to Japanese, and then we'll gladly do it for you. And don't forget, we still have some ongoing polls. So when you donate, you can choose whether to change Kingdom Hearts 3 to Japanese or English. You can choose the Final Mix Dream Weapon. You can choose Fire Emblem's Good or Bad Ending, or Resident Evil 4's costume choice. So don't forget to get those donations in, no matter how big or small, and please put them towards something. It will make the runs much more entertaining.
The Japanese voice is at $5 right now, so if you want the IMO better voice lines, aka English, you have to donate more than $5 for it.
Them's fighting words. Come on, guys.
We're gonna cut. Hey, sorry about that delay there, folks, but we got quadraaceps back, and he's humaning again. So
yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. Like problems with having a.
But yeah, I'm gonna get the timer back rolling, and we'll get this run back on its feet.
Alright, just let me know when I can continue. In the meantime, I'm gonna.
You can go now. I started the timer.
I'm gonna get the chat on pop out. Might help with, I don't know, CPU or something. Alright, so really sorry about that technical problem. Did we manage to explain everything?
Yeah, I explained all the stuff that we missed while you went robotics, so I got you on that part. So we're also doing starting Therion's chapter 2 here. There's a lot of looting and stuff going on. Like with Alphin's chapters, you kind of have to do some backtracking, so it's just running around a lot here. Also, now we're starting our first chapter 2 boss, which is Gideon. So Quadra learned some skills here. He learned leg hold with Alphin, as well as equipped all the other weapon skills. So there you got armor corrosive, which by the way will be a very important skill. And Alphin also got our good old friend amputation, and Obrecht gets in sight because Obrecht's gonna hopefully need to take some attacks from Gideon here coming up next.
Yeah. All right. So there's a very good reason why we're gonna do Gideon first. Firstly, he's very easy to kill. You just chuck 2 vets at him, and later the other reasons I'll be explaining later. So this is a pretty good turn order, so I'm going to do this.
Yeah, so what armor corrosive does is that increases the damage that Gideon takes from physical attacks by 1.5 times, and it's especially really relevant for hired help because you want to. Hired help deals a fixed amount of damage, and that gets it increases the damage vets even further.
Is my voice still okay?
Yeah, your voice is still okay.
Okay, because like sometimes my game audio is like cutting out a bit for my, but it's also because I'm using Bluetooth, so it just could be my Bluetooth. I'm just a bit cautious of whether my voice is like getting robotic again. But yeah, Gideon's very easy to kill. He summons ads, so you just want to kill those first, and then that unlocks his weaknesses, so he takes more damage from the next set of bets.
Yeah, the only bad turn order is if you get Cyrus first before Gideon's turn, and so that because if in that case the ads might have a chance to kind of go before you, but thankfully Olbert can take some hits.
Yeah, now that we're done with Cyrus Chapter 2, we can just go on this next section of exploration because we're already in Query Quest. So not only is Gideon very easy to kill, he gives us a lot of JP, which we're gonna need to learn the next set of skills. And on top of that, finishing Cyrus's Chapter 2 puts us very close to where we do need to go next.
Yeah, so we have to tag a couple towns here. We're gonna tag Orwell and as well as Riverford. So Orwell's kind of a long walk, so we're actually gonna take the time to challenge this guy honorably. And when I mean honorably, I mean we're just gonna chuck a soulstone at him. That's Ulrich's idea of an honorable fight, everyone.
Yeah, so we want to challenge this guy because it's going to reset our step counter so we can get to Orwell safely. And while we're doing so, we can actually chuck a soulstone at him as well to complete a quest, which gives us quite a nice bit of money.
Yeah, so you get 11k, which is a decent sum considering we're kind of beating him up on the way, as well as a critical L nut, which we'll factor in later on in this run.
Do we have time for a quick donation on your journey?
Sure.
Awesome. So we have another $6 from Sunny Muffin saying, Octopath needs English voices.
Thank you so much, Sunny.
Just remember, folks, if you want to, if you want to change it back to Japanese, all you gotta do is donate, I believe, $9 or more.
Is it $9? I thought it was like $5
I think it's
or
like
$1.
I believe Japanese is at $5 and then
right.
English is at $6. So if you donate $1.01, you can get your precious Japanese voices back.
Alright, the next time we hear Pogacan is like in Ulrich Chapter 3, so you have a lot of time to get your Japanese donations in.
Yeah, so along the way here, as well as tagging River, we're gonna grab a couple more items here, where we grab that Wind L Soulstone. And we're gonna go into here, because there's a couple of really useful items that we'll get, and it's pretty easy money, so we're gonna, as you're gonna see here, we're gonna be looting a Forbidden Sword, which is another source of damage for Ulbrich. And we're also gonna do a buffer glitch here, as well, to get through this, because there's a boss in a way that we obviously don't want to deal with, and from there we just loot the enchanted rod for some free money, and then we're gonna loot a really nice item called the Force Shield, which gives you some pretty nice defenses.
Hey, nice first try. This is a pretty low chance scrutinize, so definitely helps to get it first try. There are a lot of scrutinizes and steals that you have to do in Noble Court, so having as much reputation as losing as few reputation as you can really helps a lot. Because every time you have to reset reputation, it takes time and a bit of money as well.
Yeah, so we scrutinize, we're going to be scrutinizing the Thunder L, which we'll be getting here in a second. And we also scrutinize thieving tips and tricks, which will make it easier for us to steal. I believe it lowers the base requirement for the steal to have a good percentage for Therion by 10. Because, so Therion's skills are pretty... Therion's path actions are pretty unique in his chapters in that you kind of need him leveled up in order for the best, most ideal steal rates. Because without that tips and tricks, I believe it's going to be like 15%, which is definitely not very Pogaken, I should say. And we're going to be doing a total of 3 of these steals. So, and not to mention this level requirement kind of also puts into account, or it takes into account in chapter 3 and chapter 4, though chapter 3 is not as bad, but chapter 4 is pretty infamous in the speedrun section.
Oops.
So here we're gonna be doing finishing up Alphen's chapter 2 here, and we're gonna give Ulbrich Nourish S, which increases his base HP to make him a little more tanky. We're gonna give the crit out to Alphen for more crits, and then we're gonna put back on Cyrus's knowledge staff, which we have to take out for Gideon so he's not fast, and the empowering ring for more HP, and then we're gonna make Ulbrich even more beefy. And we got some skills as well we got Cyrus another merchant skill, and then some more offensive base skills.
Yeah, I kind of flopped the menu a bit. Didn't need to give Cyrus endless items there. It's gonna be useful later, but not now. So what I mainly wanted was cover on Ulbrich, and the show goes on Elfin. And cover is a skill that when your characters are below 30%, and they were to take another physical hit, the character of cover would take it for them. So it's very useful for protecting your weakened characters, especially since Ulbrich's the one with cover and he's the one with all the equipment that we picked up so far. So he's really, really beefy right now. And then the show goes on is a passive skill which increases Alphen's buff durations by 1. So it's gonna be useful because most of the buffs last 2 turns, but we need it to last 3 turns. So in that equipment menu, we also gave the Forbidden Blade to Ulbrich. So Forbidden Blade has a very large increase in speed, which is why I'm gonna go before the ads a fair portion of the time, so that he can draw attacks away with insight. So right here, yep, this is good. So I can go for a faster fight by Lion Dancing Alphen here. So if Ulbrich takes a lot of damage, I can opt to heal him here.
Yeah, these Vanessa's ads hurt quite a bit, so you kind of want Ulbrich to deal damage, and they're not as scary in all males, but in single story, they're pretty scary.
Yeah, very good turn order here. I'm able to break Vanessa before she does anything.
Yeah, this is a really good fight since only the ads really got actions. And now see here too, after the set of vets which deal really nice damage, we're just going to use our good old friend Amputate to deal a lot of damage. So Lion boosted Amputation dealt like almost cap damage for just 9,999 right off the bat.
Yeah, the Lion Dance and Alphen really helping to increase his damage output by so much. And also credits to Therion because with the dagger that we picked up in Marcelin Catacombs, he's able to deal a very sizable chunk of damage as well. So we have like 3 characters with very strong weapons. So Cyrus has the Knowledge Staff, Therion has the Viper Dagger, and Alphen has the Death Cleaver. So 3 or 4 of our characters are able to deal a lot of damage with their weapons, and then the last character will usually be a merchant. But right now, since the knowledge staff isn't gonna be very powerful immediately, later on when we get another weapon to augment that damage, it'll become a lot stronger. So in the meantime, we're just gonna use Cyrus for merchant duties or breaking duties. And the reason why we wanted to come to Noble Court to do part of Therion's speed before we go to Gold Shore to finish up Alphen's Chapter 2 is because we wanted the Empowering Ring as well to give Cyrus to make Cyrus a bit beefier. And also because we want to complete this right now, because we want to complete Therion's chapter 2 before we start Oberic's chapter 3. That way he has enough. It gives us enough JP to learn the next set of skills we need.
So this
So this
screen's pretty
screen-
long.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the screen's pretty long, and you're usually gonna get an encounter, so that's why we do a save and quit here. So I taught Spearhead to Oberic. It's a skill which deals not only one hit of damage, but it also puts you at the start of the next turn. So it's very useful because Vesa and Orlick are both weak to Spear. If I actually had to, for example, heal Oberic there with Alphen, I could Lion Dance on turn 2 and then use Oberic to break with Spearhead into Spear times 4 instead of use Spear 3 plus Alphen's Concoct. And this is the first time we actually saw Alphen's Concoct. Concoct is Alphen's special ability, which allows him to mix together ingredients to produce various effects. And they're going to be very useful, not just for buffing your party, but also to take off shields from enemies. And so Oberic's going first again, which is very nice. Insight's able to draw away the attack. And then we're going to have Cyrus. We're going to do the same strat where we defend with Cyrus so we can clear the ads very quickly with hired out veterans.
Yeah, so this fight plays out very similarly to Vanessa, except the Orlick's ads don't really do much to you. They do hurt, but definitely not as much as Vanessa's ads. Also, I believe we totally glossed over the BP system. So, generally, when you start a battle, everyone starts at 1 BP. And you can boost your BP up to 3 times to get a variety of effects. So if it's used on regular attacks, you'll get more hit sense. Like for example, if you boosted Spear fully here, as you saw, Oberic used 4 hits of Spear to break Orlick. But this also has an effect on regular skills, because if you use it with a skill, it makes your for every boost, it makes your skills, I believe, 1.3 times as powerful. So we generally want to fully boost our skills to the most efficient ability, so that we can deal a lot of damage.
Yep, so now we're done with Therion's chapter 2. We're gonna do Oberic's chapter 2 next, and you're gonna see why that we wanted the JP. Because Oberic's gonna have just enough to learn the next set of skills that he needs.
Yeah, so there's going to be a pretty big menu coming up here, because this is when we kind of want endless items equipped on all of our characters here, so that we're going to hope for a couple of EI procs.
No, I missed the tech skill.
So what endless items does is that it has a 25% chance of kind of like saving your item when you use it. So for example, like if you used a soul stone and you saved it, it'll kind of have a little like bling when you use it. And we want to, so generally we get less soul stones. This route uses a little less soul stones than what we have available, so we're kind of a little bit reliant on EI procs. Not entirely, because we have plenty of backup soul stones, but ideally we would like to get EI procs, which is a 25% chance, so that we don't have to run around wasting our time getting extra items here. So you also see Ulbrich learn Summon Strength here for more damage, because we're going to be using his challenge skills here to beat up enemies.
Yeah, Summon Strength is just a nice bonus. We need the 3 skills on Ulbrich. Like we need Spearhead, Insight, and 1000 Spears, and it just happens to unlock Strength as well, so you can just equip it. And it also helps with these challenges.
Ulbrich,
Okay,
not like this, dude.
Hope Ulbrich doesn't die. There we go.
Ulbrich didn't get more than 30 hits on 1,000 Spheres SMH. Yeah, so that's why we kind of beef Ulbrich up a little bit with items, because he does have to face these challenges alone. These challenges are mandatory.
Yeah, the nice thing about these challenges is that you're able to use items for them as well. So we're gonna use a stone for this guy because the other strat for to do this without a stone is pretty slow. And Sunshine, did you mention endless items? I think you might.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically you're hoping for a certain number of procs on your mainly large soulstones, because we actually don't route enough stones that we need for the route to lead the run, because having to go and get those stones is pretty slow. So what you're hoping for is actually to save stones and endless items. Of course, if you don't get enough procs, it also means that you just have to take a bit of time to go and get the items. It doesn't mean that you cannot complete the route.
Yeah, so as Ulrich's chapters tend to be pretty long, because this chapter 2 is one of the really long ones, because you kind of have to go through a gauntlet of people to beat up. So you have to go through like the arena, you have to go beat up some people. And all of these people are generally pretty dangerous. It's not as bad, but you can still very much get trolled in these fights.
All right. How do you like this?
Oh my gosh, my music cut out again. Is my voice okay?
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's just my Bluetooth then.
So we have a lot of weapons to use at our disposal, so we're pretty much gonna power up our weapons here to beat up Victorino. All of these mandatory fights don't have that much HP, but we are going to vet some of them. We are going to vet at least one of these arena fights just to make it faster. But this chapter is just generally why Ulbrich chapters are pretty resource intensive because of all these fights and these and your opponent's having a decent amount of HP.
Yeah, I forgot to equip Hunter onto Elfin. I already had this. Alright, I'm gonna scrutinize this guy for an Ice Soulstone, and believe it or not, this is like really important because Ice Soulstones are really limited in the game in general, and we're gonna need an Ice Soulstone to deal more damage to the fights later. So this is the only Ice Soulstone we have access to in this earlier part of the game.
Out of my way.
So this is Joshua. Pretty simple fight. So this is the fight we're gonna vet. We're just going to break Joshua, and then we're just gonna chuck vets at break Joshua and just chuck vets at him. You're gonna see a lot of pay to win stuff, so if you like pay to win stuff, Octopath is right up your alley.
Out of my way. No, you don't.
Yeah, so you can do this fight without vets, but it's really fast to do it with vets. So, since we have the extra money, we can use it on Joshua.
Ideally, you could technically vet everything here, but it's just pretty expensive, and you have money,
Yeah.
but you don't have that much money. So this fight's a little more complicated because you kind of want to kill the ads ASAP, because Archibald can deal a pretty sizable amount of damage to you. So as long as you don't have like stagger turn orders here, we're generally good to go. Because if the ads are at like half to low HP, they're going to do really bad stuff.
Take this.
So after we kill the ads with soul stones, this is a pretty simple fight. We just need to break him.
Take it easy. How about you?
Yeah, nothing much to say about Archibald. You really just need to break him and unleash the full force of your weapons on him.
Yeah, you don't need to use armor corrosive on him because we're pretty much just basically gonna unleash every single one of our weapons, and that's pretty much just enough damage after they're tossing some soul stones at him. So
It
yeah,
really
these-
helps that a lot of our characters are really fast. So Knowledge Staff, Forbidden Blade, and Viper Dagger all give our characters very significant increases in speed. So we're able to go before a lot of these ads to take them out. And this is going to be relevant for this upcoming fight against Gustav. Basically, you want to kill the ads before you bring them below half health. Otherwise, they might stun your characters. And yeah, this is good. So.
Yeah, you don't want staggered turn orders because at low HP, these shield guys do extreme charge, which can stun your allies, your other party members. So that's really bad. And these guys are also pretty chonky. They've got a decent amount of HP.
Here we go. Take it easy.
So once
Gustav
the ads
has a lot
are
of
through,
shield.
yeah, once the ads are through, it's just a matter of breaking Gustav and killing him with vets and
Out of my way.
a little bit more damage.
Oh, flames. Rain. Roll. Here we go.
Good turn order.
Now, think not. Have my way is unbent.
And that's basically Gustav. So yeah, I believe chapter 2 can kind of troll you a little bit if you have like terrible turn orders, but you're generally favored for it to go well.
Yeah, thanks to all the speed equipment you have, the arena is usually very smooth sailing. What's not so smooth sailing though is the Warbringer Shrine, because I don't believe we got a revitalizing gem from our Mysterious Night challenge earlier, so we're gonna have to pick up this revitalizing gem, and it's gonna give you a small chance of getting an encounter, which I actually have gotten a lot based in all my practice.
Yeah, so this
So
is
we
a
want to
pretty...
come here. We want to come here after Gustav, just to save the screen transition again. Like warping back to Victor's Hollow is going to put us bang on the first screen, so we can save a bit of backtracking. And Warbringers are very fast and convenient source of money. It's just outside Riverford and it's very close. And we also want to pick up the revitalizing gem here, which is a very good item, and it's going to be very useful later to make one of the fights possible.
No encounter, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the revitalizing gem is an item that restores HP, SP, and BP fully. The main thing we want is the 5 BP that it gives, so we're gonna be using that for one of the fights later. And yeah, it's a really limited item, and that's why we wanna pick up at least one for this route, because it's gonna help a lot in one of the fights later. And now, once we're done with Obrex Chapter 2, since we're in Victor's Hollow, we can go over to Northreach, which is where we're gonna do Therion Chapter 4 later. And this is the closest town that we have to Northreach.
Yeah, you want to just take advantage of like where your chapters end, so like you don't have to like keep warping around, because warping around doesn't take a lot of time, but you kind of want that every little time to count, and it's just very convenient to just do it at the end of or this chapter, for instance, since you're very close, as close as you can to Northreach.
Yeah, so this is some of the stuff you have to take into account when you're doing routing. So you want to try to make things as optimal as possible, but sometimes you do have to take an extra warp or whatever, or forego like having to being able to save one screen transition or whatever, if like say the benefit outweighs the cost.
So this screen is extremely long, so we are getting to an encounter, but thankfully this encounter is the same every time, every first time you encounter this. We like to call them the cringe lizards. These lizards are only weak to axes, which conveniently are weak to bandits, so we just have to break them. We don't need to kill them or anything, we just run away.
Yeah, and Cyrus actually got hit just like on the brink of death. So I'm actually not gonna heal him because he's actually in range to be protected by Ulbrich's cover, and for the upcoming fights, it's just gonna be physical attacks, so there's no need to heal him because Ulbrich's just gonna tank everything for them. So I used to go to this area called Maw of the Ice Dragon, which is on the way to North Reach to get an extra 30,000 leaves. But since then, I've managed to save an extra 30,000 from one of the later fights. So I was able to cut Maw of the Ice Dragon out. So it's a free 30-second time save. And I believe I didn't get any EI props.
Nope.
In Ulbrich's Chapter 2, so I'm gonna have to pick up one backup stone before Ulbrich's Chapter 3.
I believe you need one or two before Darius, and then I think another one before Lucia, if I'm correct.
So this, I think that was the old route. So the new route's actually slightly different when it comes to the stone route. You're gonna want one EI prop before Ulbrich's Chapter 3, so you have 5 chances to prop one stone. So I'm gonna get one. But that's pretty much all the EI procs that you need, assuming that you don't miss any of the steals later on. So it becomes a bit more earlier game heavy for the stone route. But later in the game, it's pretty. The stone route's pretty chill. As long as Therion hits the steal, so. Knowing Therion, we can't always rely on him, so we're gonna... Thankfully, there are a few backup stones that we can get very easily if, let's say, we don't have enough stones. But I'm gonna have to keep track of how many stones I have and how many stones I steal, essentially.
You also notice one little subtle thing. We changed him to be our first member in the party. It's gonna be relevant for Therion's Chapter 4, as well as our donation incentive.
Hey... That's nice. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Alright, so before Gareth, there are a bunch of minions here that you can just kill them pretty easily.
Hopefully Cyrus doesn't level on this encounter. I don't think so, right?
He doesn't, but it doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah. I believe Gareth is a relatively quote-unquote safe fight.
Yeah, it doesn't really... Again, you just want Ulbrich before the ads. His ads hurt a lot, but you just want Ulbrich before the ads to draw away the attack, so they don't attack into your other party members. So this is also a new strat that I recently introduced. So it takes a bit more resources, but it's a lot safer. So instead of using Insight to draw away the attacks, we're gonna make use of Ulbrich's special talent, which is called Bolster Defense. And basically, voice, okay, I think it's my Bluetooth. So, essentially, Bolster Defense allows you to boost your defense. So, on top of moving yourself to the first, making yourself act first.
I see.
On the next turn, it also draws all attacks to Ulbrich. So as you can see, he's gonna protect everyone. I'm gonna use one Palm L here to give Ulbrich back the BP that he used. And gonna use Vets to break Gareth as well as take out the ads.
My turn. I see. All right. How about this?
Therion's ready for that time save.
I shall pierce you through.
So I believe the change here was to be more reliant on weapon damage since Gareth doesn't have that much HP. If I'm correct.
Yeah, Gareth has about 39,000 HP, which is considerably less than any other Chapter 3 bosses. They usually have at least 50,000 to 60,000. For reference, he also has less HP than some Chapter 2 bosses. So, for example, Hanet's Chapter 2 boss has 43,000 HP, so that's more than Gareth.
Do we
I
have a
believe they
busy
made up for
downtime
Garrett.
donations anytime soon?
Yeah, we have some time.
Awesome. So, some wonderful news. We have a $100 donation from Far saying
Whoa.
a boost because we are so close to 1k. We hit 1k by end of day 2 last time. Let's get it again. C1. And that donation seemed to have also gone towards the Japanese voice language of Kingdom Hearts 3. Thank you very much, Far. We very much love you all.
I just got debated. I heard Japanese is like, no, not Octopath Japanese. Not like this.
Don't forget, you guys, you can still donate to change the voice acting in this game back to Japanese.
Quick, we're almost at Lizard King, so you have to get Japanese back on.
All you have to do is go to the donation link by typing in hashtag donate in the chat and donate, what is it, a minimum of $1 or $1.01?
$1.01.
Yeah, and your donation message, you simply say Japanese voice and we'll do it for you.
Oh, I didn't get the backup stone, whatever.
Take this.
Just get an EI proc. Easy clap.
Victory shall I think not. All right.
And do you mind if I just talk about the charity for a quick minute as well?
Sure.
Sure, nice one. So don't forget, everyone, we are supporting Rise Above the Disorder, this velocity. Rise Above Disorder is providing accessibility and affordability to mental health care services within the gaming community. It has already helped out over 36,000 people in 133 different countries. And we want that number to go up. And remember, like, no matter who you are or where you come from, you deserve the care that you need. And only $93 to go until we hit that 1k mark. Oh.
You didn't get any EI procs there, I'm pretty sure, so...
Yeah.
Kind of bad
There we go.
RNG. Thanks, team.
And
Yeah,
I also have
everyone's
another
fired.
donation.
Like, they have they had 7 chances to proc EI so far, and I didn't get a single one. I predict I'm gonna get one on the M stone, which I'm gonna use later.
I don't... Oh, you only got one on the M stone? SMH.
No, I didn't use any M stones, but I predict I'm gonna get one on the M stone later, or Alphin's Concoct.
Yeah,
Some news about the Japanese voices, if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
sure.
So we have a $15 donation from Unova Rydrake, Octopath JP Voices.
Oh, this is the
Yay,
one that
let's
can
go.
text. I knew
Let's
it.
go, you know.
Thank you very much for your donation. We really appreciate it.
Alright, hopefully I can get to the end of the screen without an encounter. I think it should be fine. No, I actually think you can get encounter. Yeah, running from the start there. So that was my mistake. Oh my god, the screen is so long. Okay.
And this screen's pretty long, so...
Yeah, thankfully no encounter there. I'm pretty sure you could have gotten one. This screen
Can't get-
is also sometimes can get a bit dicey, but usually it's safe.
It's like a 10% chance of getting the encounter here, roughly. Which, when you get it, you're just kind of sad.
Alright, so
So this-
this fight I used to do with 2 vets, so now we do it with 1 vet.
我が剣は守るべき者のために。 なかなかやられるものか。そうだ。この金額で
Yeah, so we used to use 2 vets here, but now we use 1 vet here. We're going to so the big change here is that we're gonna possibly tank a hit from the ads, which isn't a big deal because we're made to take hits from the ads. And the nice thing is that we're gonna break our fellow lizard meme king, as I like to say,
これでも食らえ。
before we use vets, and that's where the vets time save comes from. We don't need that E break proc, but it's pretty nice because I believe it'll save us from
Save
doing
it.
a potential attack.
切断。大福そう覚悟はいい。この金額でさあ本気を出す題名よ。驚き響け。
Yeah, so with that E break proc, Cyrus is doing a pretty good amount of damage. And there's a very important reason why we do Ulbrich's Chapter 3 kind of like as soon as we can, because if you saw that drop we got, the Lizard King axe, it's a really important weapon because, while it's just a regular axe, it's not as cool as the best axe in the world, but it has a...
負けられない
It makes your damage, your lightning attacks deal 30% more damage. So, what essentially is going to happen is Cyrus's lightning blast is going to deal pretty good damage now. And so this is another mandatory duel. We are totally going to be very honorable here with Earthheart. So we're going to break him, and then we're just going to hire people to do our dirty work for us. Totally honorable fight over it.
これで終わり。
Yeah, so now he's gonna do a little bit of backtracking here. He needs to grab a Sleepweed and Curious Bloom for later on. And now we start our gambling time. If you're trying to talk, Quadra, by the way, I don't believe we can't hear you. So I'll explain a little bit of this. So this is the famous Therion 3%. So you're generally intended to be here at level 45 for Therion specifically. And since we're not at level 35, the base level requirement for it is pretty beefy. So this is going to be the famous good old 3% that he has to hit. So generally, on average, you're supposed to get it within 33 tries, but some poor unlucky souls have taken 200 tries for it. I believe the record's like 211 or something. So, you're pretty you're Robo again.
The robot has
All right, sorry about that, folks. We think we have found a solution to the issue. Quadraaceps will no longer be using his webcam, unfortunately. Can't see his pretty face anymore, but that's okay. The show must go on. Quadraaceps, whenever you're ready, I can start the timer. Just tell me when.
Alright. Thank you. Alright, so sorry about that, guys and girls. I will be continuing the run without a webcam, but we're gonna pick up where we left off. I'm gonna do this important menu here at North Reach.
Yeah, so now here, we're going to get Hang Tough for everyone. That's why we did those prior chapters, so that we get just enough JP for everyone to learn Hang Tough. So what Hang Tough does is that whenever you're not, assuming you're not in critical HP, whenever you take a hit that would kill you, assuming you're not in critical HP, it will leave you instead at 1 HP. So this is going to be really useful for a lot of bosses because we're going to take really good use of that to survive hits that are normally very fatal. And we can basically kind of like use it to, and we're also going to be using it in conjunction with Ulbrich's cover because we gave Ulbrich will be able to tank more hits than the others. So whenever so basically when others die, or when, so basically people cannot die because Darius's first attack is always sweep, aka steal item into HP thief. And so once sweep happens, everyone except for Ulbrich will be at 1 HP in critical, and Ulbrich won't be in critical, so he can still tank the hit for them and survive. So we had to do a mandatory fight here. So it's pretty simple. We're just gonna have Ulbrich break with sword, aka mercenaries, and then Cyrus is gonna whip his new shiny lizard meme axe that makes lightning hits deal 30% more damage. He's gonna outright kill one of the thugs here, and then Alvin's gonna take care of the rest.
Yeah, so Lizard King Axe is gonna immediately put in a lot of work, so we're gonna pretty much be using Lizard King Axe with Lightning Blast for the rest of the run. It's just a really strong source of damage now. Without the Lizard King Axe, Cyrus's damage is actually pretty underwhelming compared to somebody like Alphen or even Therion. But with the Lizard King Axe, it actually boosts his damage up to really significant levels. So I got my first EI player of the run. Of course, it's on like Palm S or something, not on any Palm Ls. But right now I'm gonna go over to Sunshade because I want to start Alphen's Chapter 3 now. The reason why I'm doing it now as opposed to earlier is because now that Therion's at level 23, it actually makes L-Stones a 55% steal. So now that I'm able to steal L-Stones for 55%, I'm able to go to Saint's Bridge now where there are a few stones which I can steal.
Yeah, so going to Saint's Bridge, the screen is a little bit dangerous, but since we're really high level, it doesn't really matter if we get the encounter or not. It's just a slight inconvenience. But we also do get to see our favorite animal if we do get the encounter.
Might not actually, because since we're at a higher level, the encounters are different. So yeah, we got the Frog Kings here.
Oh yeah, we are higher level. Oh god, we get the really mean looking frogs, of course. So everyone has Hang Tough, so they can,
I should say it's actually based on how many chapters you've completed so far.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Rip Alphen and Cyrus.
Oof.
Wow, both of them are asleep.
Yeah, so encounters are pretty bad here. I forgot since you get higher level encounters here, and we have completed a decent bit of chapter 2s. We generally do our favorite to escape because everyone has Hang Tough and everyone can tank some hits, but it's just like a big waste of time.
Yep.
So Alphen's chapters tend to have a ton of cutscenes and a lot of running around, so that's kind of why we just went to Saint's Bridge first to get started on its cutscenes, because we'll be kind of going. We're pretty much going to be using his like long walking points to basically just transit to other places and do other things. Yeah, so you can see here we're going to steal some soul stones that are now 55%. They're pretty favorable for Therion to get it, but he can be pretty incompetent. And then now here we get the good old famous 3% steal here. So because we're pretty low level, this is going to be a 3% steal chance. But right before that, we're gonna get some money items here. So we generally have 10,000 leaves allocated to deal with steals here. So if we get much less than that, then we're gonna have to get backup money elsewhere. But hopefully 3% will be nice to us. But thankfully, conveniently enough, reset if we don't get it within 5 tries, it's not the worst thing ever. Because resets in this town are the cheapest out of any other towns, even Chapter 1 towns. So everything here is going to be, so it only costs 1,000 leaves to restore your reputation, so it's totally fine to kind of like fail a couple steals. So that's 10 steals, I believe. He also did grab both of the Pommels because we're going to be using a lot of pomegranates for this run. Or for the next few sections. And yes, this is a theme of Therion, single story, as well as like any half-game chapters that involve Therion. Even in AMS, where you're a couple levels higher, it's still like an 8% chance, because the threshold for it to become 15%, I believe, is, I think, level 41 or 42. Yeah, so basically you all can make fun of Therion because he's a pretty incompetent thief. I mean, he's trying, I guess because he's trying to steal clothes from people. So I believe we're pretty unlucky so far on the steals. Sorry, one moment. You're pretty robotic-y again.
The androids are taking over.
And the androids are taking over.
All right, we are so sorry about these issues, guys. We're just gonna have quadraaceps have his mic muted because it keeps having the same issues these past 3 times, which is really unfortunate. But Sanjan knows this game very well, so she will take over all commentary from here.
Yeah, I'll be Quadra standing. So yeah, we're gonna be doing 3% here. I think he's down like a couple gold, like quite a bit. So he'll probably need some replacement if this 3% RNG is really bad.
Quad's just too powerful. He broke the mic.
I blame Therion, honestly. Actually, I blame the entire team because A, the entire team got no EI procs, which they had plenty of opportunities to. And B, they only got EI procs on the most useless stuff that you do not need. Well, hopefully Alphen. Oh, Alphen didn't really do anything, but if you get EI procs on his Canucks, then it. I mean, whatever. Alphen was too drunk to do anything. I mean, that's. Yeah, I'll give him that because like half the time he's in a bar along with Therion, but Therion and Alphen are good drinking buddies. And yeah, sometimes the 3% can get very unfortunate. I think I generally don't try not to keep count, but I think we're like in the 40s or 50s or something. So
But
yeah.
it's RNG based.
Yes.
And
So
there's
this
nothing you can do
is.
about it.
Yeah, it's 3%. There's nothing you can do about it. The average is 33%. You blame Therion for being the worst thief in the world.
Mhm. What if he like just got good?
Oh, there we go. Let's go. So now he has to do a pretty large sell menu here. He needs around I believe 90,000 for this fight in total. So he'll be selling a whole truckload of stuff here. And he also bought a crit bracelet because we want the best chance possible for Alphen to do critical hits because sometimes for whatever reason on Darius as well as some bosses, Alphen does not have a complete chance to crit. So he's gonna give Alphen Gareth's helm and the critical bracelet here. And then after that he's off to the races. So now that we have Hang Tough, most of the fights, almost a large majority of these fights will be completely scripted, since we'll be manipulating cover as well as Hang Tough to be able to tank hits from Darius as well as other bosses. So this screen in particular here is not that this first screen here is not very dangerous. But it can the second screen, however, here you can get an encounter. It's not overly likely, but it's kind of like around roughly 30-40%, but it can troll you because they don't kill you very fast, so hopefully he won't get an encounter here. But once he gets through this encounter here, this fight is pretty much completely scripted. And we're going to see some very nice use of resources here. So I believe here we use 2 full sets of vets and a collect here. So Darius' first turn action here will be to steal item. As you see, everyone got set to 1 HP, and Ulbrich was not in critical HP, but he does have cover, so he's going to be tanking this hit right here. And that's going to leave him at 1 HP. So we're going to have a Cyrus break here with Blizzard. And we're basically going to get set up here for next break here. Ulbrich's going to defend, and we're going to put up all of our armor corrosive stacks here. And then Alphen's here going to heal the group because once Darius gets out of a break, he's going to be he always does sweep. That's his first attack. So he has Ulrich defend here because he wants to full vets, and we want him to go first. So he uses all of his BP before we can toss a Pomegranate L, which restores his BP, because next turn he won't be restoring any BP after he uses it. So they talk a little more, which, by the way, is not fully voiced for some reason. I don't know why they didn't voice it, but whatever. So we're also going to palm Cyrus here, because as I said, now that Cyrus has the lizard meme axe, he's going to be doing a lot of damage with the lightning blast. So we're collecting here because it's a pretty good opportunity too, and we don't use that many vets. So we're going to break with Therion, and then we're going to toss a couple soul stones here, and aside from one more use of vets from Ulbrich, the rest of this damage is going to be coming from attacks. So yeah, you see that last down there, because so what last down does is that the lower your HP is, the more damage it deals, and since Alvin is at 1 HP, it's going to deal a good truckload. It's going to deal cap damage, pretty much. And so after a couple more hits, and then some lightning blast, and the last stand, and Darius is down. Kerplow. So basically, after that, we can start pretty much finishing all the other bosses pretty quick. So our next boss that'll be coming up. Well, actually, we're going to be doing more of Alphin's story, because it's still, we're going to make use of still another warp point here. Because Alphin loves cutscenes. So here we can just use his Inquire to talk to the old lady here. And then since we're higher level here now, we have a pretty good chance of stealing the Palm L here, as well as the Windell. Actually, no, he got the extra Palm L in Northreach, so he can skip that one, but he's going to steal this Windell right here, because we're going to need a good bit of soul stones for these last few fights. Yeah, ironically, Alphin's Chapter 1, if he's not your first character, even if Alphin's your first character, his Chapter 1 is really fast. Like, you just go through a couple cutscenes and you're already off to the races. So now here we're going to start Cyrus 3. So we kind of delayed Cyrus 3 for quite a while because the boss here, Yvonne, hurts really hard. Because his ads are very trolly. Yvonne's not as dangerous himself, but he does deal a good amount of like physical damage, but his ads are going to be the big trouble because his ads can cast Tornado here, and he and those ads with Tornado deal a lot of damage. So we kind of want to wait till we get Hang Tough so that we have pretty good leeway to dealing damage. I mean to break them, because we're also going to be really fast. So we're generally pretty favorable to get hits. So you have to go scrutinize a bunch of people here, and yeah, we wait a little bit to do Stone Guard because now these steals are 65%, which is pretty favorable for us to steal, but they are not going to still kind of like be bad at this game. We do more prompts here because we're interrogating people. Oh yeah, also I forgot to mention I forgot to mention that last menu there was probably the last biggest menu, because once we have Hang Tough, we're pretty much set on our abilities for the most part. And this screen for Cyrus 3 is also pretty trolly because we can you're a little likely to get an encounter here, but the encounters here are extremely annoying to break and generally do not have very good open ways for you to break. So if you get an encounter here, it's kind of bad because they also deal quite a bit of damage to you. So thankfully he didn't get an encounter here, but for the most part, this is pretty scripted, as long as the ads don't go spam tornado when someone dies. So we got everyone first here, so this is pretty simple stuff. So we're gonna break these ads here as our first priority with bandits, as well as lightning blast. And then we're going to have Alphen break Yvonne here with Canuck the Canuck Light. So that's why Alphen. Of course, you get an EI proc on this. I mean, it's not needed, but whatever. So these two ads here died to 2 L stones, as well as Lightning Blast from Cyrus. And we're gonna basically buff ourselves up since, thankfully, after the ads are dead, this is a pretty simple fight. Because Yvonne just pretty much just sits there and just gets angry at you. So pretty much after you get through the first turn and you break him and deal some damage to him, he just sits there. And now your only aim is just to deal some damage to break him and just kill him outright. And when he gets out of weakness, he also reveals a new weakness to fire, which is pretty convenient. So now here we just spam our regular attacks and spells here, as well as Ulbrich's vets. And that's Yvonne. So as you see here, Alphen's pretty, aside from vets, Alphen is doing a good bulk of damage with amputation. Thanks to Lion Dance. And so now here after we complete Cyrus's chapter 3 here, we're going to we're going to finish up Alphen's chapter 3. Since now we can finally finish it up. There's no more cutscene hell that we have to go through with Alphen. And so now after a couple more cutscenes here, we have to kind of run through the screen and we'll be facing Alphen's chapter 3 boss soon, which thankfully is also very scripted because he doesn't really do any damage to you. He just gets angry. He just goes raw at you, and then you just take that opportunity to easily break him.
Does he go raw XD?
No, not this boss because he's human, but he basically says, "Sorry, kid, I can't let you live." Or yeah, afraid you picked the fight with the wrong man. I have a 5-second memory for these quotes. There you go. Afraid you picked the fight with the wrong man. He's got quite a bit of shields, but thankfully we have Rain of Arrows as well as plenty of ways to break him. So hopefully we get a win proc here. That's pretty nice. So this just basically saves you having to having to manually. It potentially saves you an L stone if you get that proc.
ここからが本番だ
Because otherwise, if you did not get that proc, you'd have to use a L stone to make up the damage.
ぜ
He probably does say RAR XD elsewhere, which is not relevant in this run, but yeah.
覚悟はいいこの君は
But yeah, we basically a lot of Chapter 3 bosses kind of do that, except for with some exceptions. But we take advantage of that, and then we just break them in. This is a pretty easy fight.
出直してきな
And since I believe he can pretty much directly start Lucia now. He doesn't need any EI procs, or he has all the EI procs he needs. So Lucia's a pretty difficult boss, or Lucia can be a really annoying boss casually because she has 30 shields and she's only weak to weapons. But thankfully we have plenty of tools to take that to account here. But before we do, we start Cyrus' Chapter 4. We're just going to start Ulrich's Chapter 4 here, so more teleporting around. We're not going to finish it right here, but we don't want to have to walk back on this next cutscene right after this in this next screen, so we're just going to do that cutscene and then just directly warp out.
Do we have time for a shameless charity plug?
Sure.
Alright, so don't forget everyone, Velocity is supporting Rise Above the Disorder. All our proceeds are going directly to that charity, and this charity is helping with accessibility and affordability to mental health care services around the world, particularly in the gaming community. So it doesn't matter, you know, you can give a little or a lot. Every donation helps us towards our goal, and hopefully we can hit the 1K mark by the end of the night. That would be absolutely beautiful. So, you know, if you have a little bit spare, don't forget to exclamation point donate in the chat for us.
Thank you very much. So we took another detour here because we're going to be getting some really important items here for this next fight. I forgot about it, called we like to call the Essence of Pomegranate, but also Essence of Pog. It's a pretty hard Connacht ingredient to get, at least in terms of speedruns, because there's only a specific place where you can get them, but it's going to be extremely useful for Alphen's Connachts because Essence of Pomegranate is the main Connacht that is used for BP boosting, and Alphen has a very overpowered Connacht that you can use with Essence of Pomegranate, which grants everyone 2 BP, which is quite a bit of BP. Because it's basically essentially a Pom M to everyone for free within 1 turn. So we're gonna go down here and pick up a lot of money, cause Cyrus' Chapter 4 dungeon is riddled with money and soul stones. And we kind of need all the money that we can get for Lucia, because we only have 1 merchant and she has 30 shields, so... And Lucia hurts a lot and has, like, some bad attacks, so... You also might be wondering, this is Cyrus' Chapter 4, which means like after we complete Cyrus' Chapter 4 we get credits, but it turns out that after this fight we actually don't need to quickly finish Cyrus' Chapter 4 because you do a couple things right before credits roll, so we're just going to do this boss first and then complete the other 2 bosses that are left. So we grab more soul stones there, and like the other fights now, this is completely scripted.
負けるわけにはいかない
Oh yeah, I mentioned with this new strategy, you need 2 extra hits for Lucia, or else it's not going to be a great time. It's generally a favorable risk because you need either Rain of Arrows or Thousand Spears to get extra hits. So it's guaranteed for Rain of Arrows and Thousand Spears to get 3 hits, but generally sometimes they'll tend to get more than 3 hits if you get good RNG. So as you see with Darius, we get quite a bit of we're beefy enough to tank up 2 hits. And we use this Curious Mist because we're going to be tanking it also acts as a Healing Grape, which heals the entire party so that we can tank more hits from Lucia. So that's one extra hit, so we only need 1 more extra hit for this. So hopefully Cyrus can do his job. Hey, that's my boy. So we're going to be doing this in 7 turns, so thanks to Rain of Arrows and 1,000 Spears, we can greatly lower the amount of hits that we can need since they have 3 guaranteed hits. You also notice, what this Curious Mist does is that it prevents any status ailments from occurring. So as you saw there, Wallop can stun you, but since we have the Curious Mist here, Ulbrich's not going to get stunned. So Curious Mist, especially in the longer categories, is everyone's favorite. Everyone's favorite Connacht, just because it's that overpowered. Especially in conjunction with Show goes on. Well, yeah, we actually got quite a few good hits, so we're gonna need to do a couple regular hits. So now here, we're gonna do the famous Pomegranate Panacea, which is 2 BP to everyone. Happy BP Day, everyone. Since, we got a decent amount of extra hits here, we can pretty much have free reigns on the breaks. And so as you see there with sidestep, so we also use sidestep here so that we can dodge attacks. And then now, assuming we scripted everything correct for Lucia, this fight is complete. This fight is scripted and she's gonna die. So Lucia has pretty low HP compared to other chapter 4s. She only has around I believe 84,000, but she has a lot of defense. She has 30 shields and she hurts a lot. So this fight was pretty recently changed by Quadra, since before we'd have to specifically get a Thunder L stone, since Thunder L is boosted with or throwing a Thunder L with Cyrus deals more damage, since the plus lightning percent damage also applies to soul stones, and that's Lucia. So I believe so after this, we have to do a couple more prompts, but we won't be finishing Cyrus's story just yet, since that's going to trigger the credits, and we have not completed Ulbrich and Alphen's chapter 4 yet. So you have a pretty low chance of getting an encounter here. But it's generally not that bad because most of the counters here can be broken, but in the very rare case you do get an encounter here, it's extremely annoying. Yeah, speaking of encounters, yeah, I don't know. So these guys don't hurt, and they're pretty easy to break, but still extremely annoying to get these encounters. They're all weak to mercenaries, so hopefully Ulbrich gets his turn fast enough without everyone dying all over the place. Yeah, as you see, they don't do any damage to Ulbrich. Ulbrich's just having a party. Still extremely annoying encounter to get though, and this is extraordinary rare. And then right after that, we'll be I'll be starting finishing up Obelix Chapter 4. Quadra went to Orwell, but that's okay. You can just teleport out, I believe. Unless this is one of those cutscenes that locks you into one place. So yeah, Alphin's Chapter 4 is basically cutscene percent. There's, I don't know, like 20 million cutscenes that you have to go through. So this is what we like to call a whole B simulator. Oh, that's actually pretty smart. So he only decided to teleport out once he was at the tavern, because once you enter back in, he has a shorter distance to wherever he needs to go. So this is Ulbricht's last challenge that he has to do. He kind of has to prove himself to this guy. For whatever reason. So he needs to specifically use a 1L here to do enough damage. And then he just has to smack this guy. And then use another set of bets here, because the red hat guy has a pretty sizable amount of HP. I don't remember how much HP he has generally, but I think around like 20, 21k, 22k. Oh, he got the EI proc. Nice. And so that's the last challenge for Ulbrich. That's also why we spend it's definitely an extremely honorable battle, because to prove ourselves, we're throwing money. We're hiring old men to do our dirty work. You know, that's Ulbrich's theme. Or should I say, that's definitely Ulbrich's idea of an honorable duel. So this screen, you have a small chance of getting an encounter, but thankfully, Quadra did not get an encounter. Getting an encounter here kind of sucks, because they're kind of hard to break. Yeah, his wallet's unbending. You just fill your pockets with money. No, Ulbrich doesn't want to do the dirty work. He just hires old guys to do all the work for him. So here now we no longer need to like directly take hits from people, so we're gonna sell all of Ulbrich's gear. And you're gonna notice we're pretty much going to Alphin is I believe Alphin, you sell Alphin stuff as well as Therion stuff, because his specific job for these couple fights is just to spam Curious Mist. These bosses can inflict some pretty terrible statuses. So you're all gonna enjoy Warner, not because it's a easy or hard fight, but because it's a pretty improbable thing that you're gonna see here in a second. Because he definitely has this very cool thing of riding a horse in a mansion. Also Paga can.
That's like the ultimate flex right there.
Oh, nice Curious Mist proc. Yeah, he likes to. He's just trying to flex on us. I mean, I feel it. So thankfully Alphin here is before Warner, which means we get a Curious Mist proc, because his attacks can inflict the terror. And terror is just generally a bad thing to have, because that means you can't boost your attacks anymore. So yeah, that boosted the lizard meme axe going into effect. So we also notably do not use weapons here because Werner and the last boss, Mr. Eagle, will lower your physical damage, so that's why we don't want to that's why we don't necessarily want to put weapons on Alpha and Theron, so we just sell it. And Cyrus from here on can pretty much carry the extra damage that you need. So thankfully, the only thing Werner does here is just shriek you, and we put back on the curiousness so that we don't get terrored. And he also swaps his weaknesses, so he's a little bit annoying to break since we no longer have. Since now he's only weak to light, axe, and wind, but thankfully Alphen is here to save the day with his overpowered Canucks. And then from here on, we just chuck soulstones to kill, and as well as lightning blast. Yes, Curious Mist, all allies, restores HP, prevents status effects. In longer categories, Alphen is your favorite person, especially in the Secret Boss percent run, where it's extremely invaluable. Oh, he does. Oh, you don't sell the Death Cleaver here. And that's Werner.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
Sure.
Alright, I have a $7 donation from a very cute person called Azama. To the runners, the organizers, and the cool peeps on the chat, and the nice voice reading this, may you all have a great moment of the speedrun. Thank you very much, Azama, for that $7 donation. We are now only $70.80 away from our 1k goal, which hopefully we can hit by the end of the tonight. And don't forget, when you do donate, we have a bunch of incentives and polls you can meet. So you can have a naming incentive for, say, the Ocarina of Time file name, the Fire Emblem Awakening avatar name, or the Pokemon Sword Sobble Kung-Fu names. So all you need to do is donate, and in the message box below, just, type in what you want to name for, and we'll sort it out for you.
So my mistake, you don't sell your weapons for Werner, you actually do it for Eagle, because while Werner does lower your physical attacks, it wears off after a couple turns, so whenever you break him the second time, that's when you use your weapons. But you do need it for Eagle, because he has a generally random chance to not to kill you, but to debuff your attack. So that's why you want to just sell all your weapons. And Alphen's on Canuck duty anyways. Also enjoy the copious amount of cutscenes where Alphen goes back in time. And also this music is just very, very good. Alphen is a Peggy Sue for a minute. I see. Yeah, so after the 5 million cutscenes, we finally get to proceed on to the last boss in the game. So Quadra is gonna do a save here to ensure that he can walk through this entire screen. Actually, never mind. He's just gonna YOLO it, but you can save there. But it's pretty likely to get an encounter on this screen, which you can't really deal with very well for the most part, unless you get lucky on turn order. And he does get it, so just be a gamer. I believe Quadra did not teach insult to injury, so you can teach insult to injury to make this fight a little easier and a little less taxing if Alphen got a bad status, but you can also just choose to YOLO it and just hope you don't get a bad status, because what Ogre Eagle does with irregular attacks is that irregular attacks can inflict the random status, and if Alphen gets status or anyone major gets status, it can get really bad. And you're gonna see here, I'm not Alphen, Ogre Eagle's only weak to one element, ice, so this is why you kind of sometimes save an ice dome. You save the ice dome specifically there. Oh, that's kind of bad. Actually, I think it should still be okay, because Alphen's turn, you usually use up Alphen's turn to use Curious Miss, but if Alphen was the one that got slept, then it's kind of bad. But thankfully, after this fight isn't too bad. So, Eagle's kind of annoying to kind of route around for multiple reasons. A, because he's extremely tanky, and he doesn't take very much damage from vets. And he also has the highest HP out of any Chapter 4 boss with 121,000. So that is quite a bit of chunky damage you have to go through. And he does some very annoying status effects, which means that Alphen has to focus on using the good old Curious Mist to ensure that nobody gets terrible statuses. And so from there, this fight is pretty much just scripted. Cyrus, we don't sell Cyrus's gear because he's magic and it's not affected by Eagles' debuffs. Or, I mean, physical damage debuffs. So pretty much from here, it's very smooth sailing. And you also see Eagle revealed a sword weakness, which we'll be using here. Yeah, we have Hitting Tough, so everyone can survive here. Survive a double Ren from Ogre Eagle. Or else we would have to go with a good old Olive Bloom strat. And so now from here we can basically spam nice EI procs. Thanks, Alphen. So now we can just spam Soulstones and Lightning Blast and Vets to kill. Yeah, so that's why, so the attack debuff makes it so it's just better to sell Alphen and Therion's gear since they deal physical damage. And that's the last boss, so we don't get the credits here since we haven't completed Cyrus's part yet, so after a copious amount of cutscenes for Alphen, we can pretty much go back and complete Cyrus's chapter once and for all. So we still have the glitch and Golden Axe incentive. We can probably do Golden Axe first, since it'll probably be a little easier for you. I don't know how you're on time, though. So I believe this run will put us right back on schedule, I believe. Yeah, we do Golden Axe first because Golden Axe is a lot cooler. It's the best weapon in the game. There is a copy pasta that I should read, but let me find it out. Alright, oh, by the way, so time ends. I forgot. Time ends when the last cutscene of Cyrus's dialogue pops up here, so one more of this. And then time's coming up soon. Time.
GG.
GG, great, good run despite the. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I hope I have been the. I'm a quadraaceps' twin here for commentary.
Don't worry, you've been an absolutely amazing commentator today.
So now let's get started with the first incentive here, since we have some time for incentives. So we're going to see the golden axe. And let me read to you why the golden axe is a really good axe. With the release of Octopath Traveler, many players who might be new to JRPGs or just those who might need a little help in getting over a particularly difficult encounter should consider grabbing the golden axe. A very powerful weapon that can be had early on thanks to a few save reloads. It should be noted that the axe weapon class can only be equipped by Haunted. Additionally, players will need her and the thief Therion in order to actually enter and steal the coveted item. With the correct jobs, or Therion and Haunted present and accounted for, players should make their way to the town of Clearbrook, Alfinfin's hometown. Once there, players will want to go towards the left by the woman standing in front of one of the houses. Wow, you actually stole it. Stuff from her. That's rude. She's the only NPC that is blocking the entrance to any of the homes, making her easy to spot. Now, if either Haunted or the warrior Ulbrich, who both have field skills that allow fighting NPCs, approach the woman and challenge her to duel. The fight itself is fairly straightforward, with a recommended level of at least 12 or 13. Players that might be struggling can easily brute force the encounter by stocking up on some healing items while building up a boost gauge, in order to quickly eat through the granddaughter's HP. After the battle, before entering the house, players should save the game and then enter inside. Once inside, the golden axe weapon will be held by the lone NPC in the house. Unfortunately, there's only a 3% success rate in being able to steal the coveted weapon. This is where save reloading comes into play. This might sound a lot of work, however. The golden axe weapon is by far the strongest weapon in the game, especially early on, viable at least till endgame. I hope you enjoyed the very detailed analysis of why the golden axe is the best weapon.
Incredible.
Which I should know.
Love for golden axe.
Holy crap! Oh, that's why he wants to get extra money. Chuck bets at them. I feel it. So one thing about doing the golden axe part is you can do it at level 1 upon it. But however, you need if you do it with Ulbrich, you need to be, for whatever reason, level 25. Even though this lady doesn't have much HP, you still need level 25 for whatever reason. I don't know. Don't ask me why. So now you enjoy now you can enjoy more 3% steals. I believe Quadra has to go sell stuff now. It's got 30k to steal the golden axe. Should be good enough. So if you like your 3% fix, here's more. Yeah, so we actually have a miscellaneous run called Golden Axe, so where your objective is to basically steal the golden axe. So what you do in that run is you start with Therion, or you start with Haunted and then get Therion, and then you beat up the lady with Haunted with your friendly neighborhood Ice Sentinel from Therion's Chapter 1. And then you basically go to town stealing. And typically you only have 4 resets in that category before you have to reload your autosave, but you know, in this case, it is what it is. But it's all worth it in the end, because I promise you, this is the best weapon. And will carry you through a lot of the game. No, I don't. You know, I had faith in Therion being able to get this, but yeah, I think there's some bad RNG going on here. Hashtag blame Therion.
Sad.
Or should I say, hashtag cancel Therion. He's not doing a very good job as a thief. Normally though, if you want a good chance at stealing the golden axe, it's normally like it doesn't go at 15% until like level 45 or something like that. So you need to be at like quite a bit higher level to be able to easily steal the golden axe. Like, for example, in the secret boss run, if you had done the golden axe after that, Therion is like level 50 or level 61 or something. Hey, we did it. I forgot how many tries that is because I can't count. I'm sorry. But that seemed like the 30th or 35th try. Also, it sells for 13,000, so yeah. Best weapon in the game. Therion did a little better this time. So, shoutouts to Therion for getting his act together, at least for this steal. And that's basically it for the golden axe. We got pretty good RNG on it, so for sometimes, like any other 3% for you poor souls, it can take a long time because Therion sucks, but hey, we got it. That's the most important part. So I believe we still have the glitch incentive. Do we have enough? Since we made pretty good progress on it.
How much time does it take about?
It should take only like 10 minutes at the most.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay. So I can demonstrate. Shall we demonstrate? So let's demonstrate one of the very new glitches that have been introduced to Octopath. Yeah, I'm also quadra beat up the poor guy with over. That's a pretty good BM if I do say so myself. So we're gonna make a save here, and you're gonna see one of the big new glitches that was introduced to Octopath here in a second. So he's gonna make a autosave here, and we're gonna go veer a little off course here. So we're actually gonna start with a haunted single story. And this all starts with the buffer glitch. So do forgive me if I'm a little crusty on my glitch explanations, because personally for me it's been a while since I've executed the glitch. But so what we're gonna do is to buffer glitch through this sign here. And then, you know, we're just gonna go through here and we're gonna enter this little voidy part. Well, we're actually gonna use a journal here, which normally the journal would kind of turn on, but in this case, we're gonna have some really weird, funky stuff happening. So now we have the journal along with the title screen overlaid, and then Quadra's gonna play this journal in the meantime here. So he's gonna play through a couple cutscenes here, and in the meantime, this new title screen is going to overlay on top of the game. So you're going to see some very funky, weird effects.
This is giving me some like Skyward Sword back in time vibes.
So there's a variety of effects that you can kind of do to this. You can kind of like load a save on top of each other. Sometimes if you do it wrong, there's some very weird effects. But now here, you're gonna see like one good application of this, and that you can use in glitch Octopath runs is one very important use is that you can recruit characters without doing their chapter 1. So this is very relevant for single story. So for this example, we're gonna recruit Primrose here. And then, you know, just a regular good old recruit Primrose, you know, nothing special. So normally here, if you played through this normally, you'd have to do a chapter once, but now we're just going to return to title here, and there's just going to be a black screen here. And then we can just warp back to wherever other town we want that is not Sunshade. So we can warp back to, for example, like Victor's Hollow or Dust Barrel here. And we have a Primrose in our party, and we did not even complete her chapter 1s. So there's a lot of like useful applications, which unfortunately we don't have enough time to go through. So this is just one of the useful applications that can be used in single story because you don't have to use resources to recruit those characters. So normally, like in a regular single story run, you'd have to kind of like go beat up Helganish, run through the screen. And this takes effect and this little kind of weird void state kind of persists throughout the entire until you like hard reset your game. So in this weird void state, every time you save and every time you try to go back to menu, it just shows up in that it should shows up in that weird black void state. So like for example, if you want to save and quit like in Moonstruck Coast to get to the Merchant Shrine, you'd have to actually hard close your game to be able to do that. Hey, first try Argent Axe, easy. So there's a couple more useful applications like that we can't unfortunately show here. Like you can kind of teleport to a character's chapter 1 towns to quickly recruit them. And then there's some very interesting applications that can be used in later categories, like you can kind of dupe quest items like the Badge of Friendship, which the Badge of Friendship, for example, basically increases your JP count by 1.5 times, so you can get 2 of them. What the? First try 10% guard, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just a quick recap on that guard, it's mandatory in Primrose single story, it's a 10%. That guard likes to troll you. He got it first try, which is really good. So yeah, so Primrose is just basically like a normal character. You can use her path actions, you can do whatever you want. The only thing you cannot do is return back to Sunshade, or else you have to kind of like quit your screen, reload your screen, and get out again. So let's just say he went back to Sunshade here. He can't get out again, but he can still like, as long as he doesn't manually reset his game. So you can kind of fix this by, you can kind of like fix it by teleporting out or completing her chapter 1, which gets you out like normal. So yeah, Primrose still has all the actions available to her, but you just can't take her out of the party until you complete her chapter 1 if you were stuck in there. And I believe that's all I have for this glitch exhibition. So this little glitch that, while it might just look like one glitch, but it's a very big gateway into executing a whole bunch of other glitches that pretty much break the game. Oh, that's bad RNG on the hits. Okay, so Is Prim gonna get the hits here? Oh, flurry to the face. Oh no, Helganesh is angry. And yeah, even if you complete her chapter 2 normally, you're still in this weird void state. But you can use it to recruit plenty of other characters as well.
さて荒れるものか行くぞさせるか行くどうすんさて
Hooray! So if you complete this normally, you can just you don't need to like save and quit out or save go back to title out of the place. And yeah, that's it for the glitch exhibition.
Amazing stuff.
So thank you very much. So thank you everyone for having us. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Press F for Quadra's poor Mike. It will be missed, but we really do appreciate it. This and most of the half game categories, except for rogues and nobles, are very good entry categories for people new to this game, since there's a lot of ways to kind of like fix it, and it's a pretty different experience from most different speedrun or most single stories and as well as full categories, since you have more emphasis on using physical damage skills. So I don't know if Quadra has anything else, but yeah, shout out to the Octopath community for all being really awesome people. We love to help people and help people get started on their runs. We're a pretty chill group, so. And this is and Octopath has a lot of different categories for everyone, so it's a very low entry category. So unless Quadra has anything else in chat, I don't have anything else.